I was in a knee brace, could barely walk. They look at it and say about 12 months. I was probably in, I would say, like the peak of my career, so to speak. For me, I guess, sitting back, watched all my best friends achieve those dreams that I wanted to. I probably didn't realize it at the time, but I'm grateful it happened, knowing that you can get through it, and setbacks only make you stronger. It gave me a new perspective on rugby league. It took me time to step back and reset as a person.
Welcome back to the We Are Sage podcast, a space for real conversations, practical advice, and that sense of empowerment you've been searching for. Today's episode is for anyone who's grown up playing sport, but more to that, it's about friendship, navigating setbacks, and putting in the work to achieve your dreams. Today, I'm joined by someone very, very special. Yes, she's a star NRLW player, but to me, she's more than that. She's a lifelong friend with the best sense of humour I know, who just happens to be chasing her dream. That said, welcome to the pod, Bulldogs NRLW captain and one of my best friends, Tayla Preston.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Now, we're going to be talking all things growing up playing sport together, how it shaped who we are, you know, the setbacks, resilience, and your journey to the NRLW. But I think before we get into that, I think we should talk a little bit about us, take the listeners back to the beginning, and give them an insight into our friendship. So do you want to start them off?
Yeah, for sure. So I think we go way back since the age of 3. So what's that? 22 years, 23 years.
23 years.
Yeah, pretty much 23 years. We're 26 now.
heck?
We're getting very old. But yeah, so we've been best friends and inseparable since we were 3. We've pretty much done everything together. I think we've been, at school dancing. We've played sports our whole life together. And, I'm so lucky that I get to call you my best friend. Yeah. And, I always used to say my sister from another mister. But yeah, so honoured that I have such a beautiful friend and best friend and sister in life. And we've just done so much together. Our whole sporting career we've done together. I think only lately in the last few years that we've had to go our separate ways with sport. But to me, I wouldn't be where I am without you. So I'm super grateful.
I love you. I think one thing you missed out is that we're also born 5 days apart. So we're both very, very close in that regard. We've grown up with a lot of joint birthday parties. But yeah, like you said, Tay, we've literally been part of every high and every low of each other's lives. And I think that is such a rarity these days. And I do. I count myself so lucky to have someone who I've literally experienced every stage of life with. And I think, like you touched on, we've played every single sport together growing up, from soccer, OzTag, netball, softball, athletics, like the list really goes on.
Anything you can name, really.
We've grown together as people and as friends, and I just have loved growing up with you. So
Thanks, Jill.
Clearly we go way back.
Yeah.
I thought we could put our friendship to the test and see how well we really know each other with some little quick fire games. So I'm going to see how well you really know me. That one's for you.
Thank you.
Do you want to start us off?
All right, quick fire. What's my favourite chocolate?
Between two, I would say a caramello koala or a Mars bar.
Yes, definitely. You got them right.
All right. First question for me, what's my coffee order for the girl that doesn't drink coffee?
For a girl that doesn't drink coffee, I should know this because I did this a couple of weeks ago. It is an oat decaf, because you're going off coffee lately.
Yes.
From Lani's challenge. Shout out to Lani. Cappuccino. So oat decaf cappuccino.
Bang on. Good job. That's impressive.
All right. Sorry, me. If I could travel anywhere, where would I go?
This one's actually stumped me.
Yes, pressure's on.
Would have to say, I want to say like Europe, like Spain, Portugal or something.
No.
Different continent.
I mean, I do want to go back to Europe, but I want to go to the Maldives.
Maldives, okay.
Yeah, that's a bucket list.
I remember that one. All right. Second for me, what is my biggest pet peeve?
Your biggest pet peeve? I reckon you got a couple, but I reckon, so sorry to any listeners that might have this, but BO.
Massively.
Yes.
And bad breath.
Oh, and bad breath.
Hygiene,
yeah,
personal hygiene, people.
Just use some deodorant and some mouthwash.
Nailed it.
What's one thing I can't live without? You should know this very quickly.
Your fake tan.
Oh! That too.
If not, probably your family or your phone.
Yeah, all three, definitely all three.
Was your phone your main one?
Yeah. Sorry, family.
All right, lucky last. This will test you. What's my lucky jersey number when I play sport?
Your lucky jersey number. There is a bit of a story to this because us playing sport all together, we actually switched numbers a few times. And I think you originally started with 7 and I started with 3.
Yep.
Then we reversed. And so I'm going to say your lucky number is 3.
It is 3.
Yes.
Has been since what? We're about 15?
Yeah, since we were about 15 when they accidentally
10
switched the jerseys around.
Well, you nailed it. Good job.
Nailed it. 3 out of 3, 2 out of 3.
You passed the test. We can still be friends.
Yeah, we can still be best friends. It's okay.
All right. So on the topic of sport, obviously wanted to jump in, take it back to the beginning for you. What are your first memories playing sport as a little girl?
Yeah, wow. There's a lot. I think, like you touched on before, we obviously grew up playing so many sports together. But for me, I go straight back to soccer when I first grew up playing soccer and actually OzTag down at Barton Ridge. I think our team name was the Cheetah Girls when we had our first all girls team, but we did actually play with the boys back then and it was just me and you, the only girls. And I know we have that photo and we crack up about it. We've got our OzTag shorts down to our knees.
And for context, for people who don't know, we started playing OzTag when we were about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So we're talking like 2005. And back then there was no girls comp. So we were 2 girls who loved throwing a footy around that played in an all boys team in an all boys comp. And I would say we matched it with the boys.
Yeah, I would say, we used to count our tries back then. And I would definitely say that we were up there for leading try scorers.
100%.
But I'd have to say, though, that one and also, playing with our first ever girls team, the Cheetah Girls, in our purple little Bond singlets we had. Same thing, some of them are still our friends today. So that's pretty cool that, 20 years later, we're still friends with them and we grew up with them at school. But also, I'd have to say soccer as well. I know I have a big boot on me in footy, but I kind of always think that's back to playing soccer. And I used to love that, and even though I always wished I could play footy when I was younger, I guess I just wanted to play anything I could really. So for me as well, it's also about the friendships you make. I look at it, all my best friends are all people I've met through sport and I love that. And I feel like, you're yourself and when you're having fun and that's having fun with your friends too. So to be able to play something you're passionate about, but play with your friends is pretty cool.
100%. I look back at some of, my favorite sporting memories and I think they were less about the achievement or what happened that day. And it was more who was around me. Like you, Elle, like all of our closest friends were part of some of the biggest sporting milestones in our lives. And I think that sport has in such a big way shaped our friendships. Yeah,
definitely. I think too, you get the highs and lows and it's like you want to, I guess, ride the highs and lows with your best friends. And I think that's cool because that brings, they bring you out when you're down and things like that too. I know we used to do that relays and, if we didn't win, we'd probably all be really upset and disappointed in ourselves. But, there's no one else I'd rather win and lose with than my best friends. So I think it's pretty special to
100%. And even being on the field, the winning and losing is one part, but knowing your mates are right beside you on the field, they're going to have your back. You know that if you, drop a ball, miss tag, whatever it is, they're going to pick you up. You're sweet.
They might pick you up, but they might give you a little bit of
I've been victim to Tayla's rap on the field, actually.
Yeah, you definitely have. I'm very competitive, so I think it brings out the competitive side too.
Well, that's one thing we have in common.
Provides some banter too for everyone, which is good. We can laugh at each other, but, we're bringing each other up at the same time.
100%. All right, so now on to your footy journey, Tay. When did you first fall in love with the game of rugby league?
I would have to say, obviously I grew up watching my brother play. My dad coached him growing up. So I'd always go down to the Aquinas Colts and watch footy. And I used to be the girl running around on the hill, tackling the boys and stuff like that.
I was probably right there with you.
You're probably right there with me. And, or eating the lollies in the canteen, probably one of those two. But I used to love watching it. And I grew up, obviously, a passionate Bulldog supporter and I'd always watch footy and I call myself a bit of a footy nerd because I feel like I know every single player and from all the years. But for me, I guess I didn't start playing till I was about 16. So one of my best friends, Lily Gone Brown, her mum, introduced me to it. Obviously, I'd only grown up playing Oz Tag and all the other sports, but, she said to give it a crack. And funnily enough, I actually played my first game and bawled my eyes out and had mascara running down my face. But
because of the pain?
Because of, getting hit, getting squished by some of the bigger girls. But for me, it was weird. I was crying, but I actually loved it. And I wanted to play again the very next week. So for me, I feel like I fell in love with it more so then, and that was probably our first ever women's team in the Shire in an under-18s level. So for me, that was pretty cool. And again, playing with some of my friends and opened new doors. So yeah, fell in love with it then and kind of, had a dream that, I wished I could be playing like the boys were in the NRL and things like that. And back then, NRLW wasn't even a thing. It was just our Harvey Normal competition. So just fell in love with it, wanted to keep giving it a crack and felt like, had a bit of a passion for it.
Yeah. So you were 16?
Yeah.
When first started playing. Did you, growing up, have, an idol or someone who was in the game that you just were like, they're the best. I wanna be them?
Yeah, I have a few idols. I used to say Hazem El Masri because of his goal kicking. I wish I could kick like him. Still can't. Bend it like Beckham. Can't bend the kicks in. But also, I guess, Benji Marshall. I mean, we all talk about his flick pass, and I guess I used to muck around at Oztag and things like that and pretend I could flick pass. Definitely can't. But I feel like that was pretty cool. Like, just the way he was. He has aura about him, and I think that was pretty cool. So for me, looking at those ones, and then obviously when I was 16, I guess I looked up to the players like Ruan Sims, Alana Ferguson. They were kind of like big sisters for me in rugby league, and they were at Cronulla Canberra as well. So it was pretty cool to be able to have idols in the same club as you too. So kind of
paving the way for you girls to come through.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I have very, very core memories of you and I going in the field, doing our suicides and our shuttle runs to stay fit. I want to ask, what else have you always done to put yourself ahead of the game and in the best position to perform?
Yeah, I guess for me, I go down to the Oval with Dad quite a bit, and I focus a lot on my kicking. I felt like kicking in the women's game, that's where you can have that edge on players too. So for me, I guess going down to the park with Dad and doing that, or he might make me do extras in con and having me there, and it's only to make me the best player I can be. But also, I guess, we're so fortunate here. We've got so many amazing gyms in the Shire, and for me, going down to those and being able to train with my friends and do different types of training as well, keeping me fit. So, I want to have that edge, and you got to be fit and ready to go when you get those opportunities. So for me, it's about, going to the park with my best friends, pushing each other, doing ladder works, thinking we're, super fast, super Steffi, but, your friends push you. And I think, like we said, we're very competitive. So, you want to be able to compete against each other, but bringing the best out of each other and getting fitter. And, there's no better way to do that than, I think, be going down to the park with your best friends and, having a muck around, but also pushing yourself. And, you both want to just keep getting better and improving. So, definitely those ones. And, just training when you can and knowing when your body needs a rest as well.
Yeah, 100%. And tell me about how good it was to get a taste of that representative footy when you started playing, Tasha Gale, Harvey Norman with the Sharks.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It happened very quickly. I think after my first year of footy, Tasha Gale competition got introduced for the first time in 2017, I think it was. And that was pretty cool to be able to wear, I guess, a representative jersey. Yeah. Again, looking at clubs that you idolise or players that played at those clubs. I think that was pretty special. And back then it was 9-a-side, so probably suited me a bit better. Yeah, 9-a-side then. Yes. Which it's gone a long way now. It's 13-a-side, normal rules, but back then 9-a-side, so it's a bit more suited to the fast girls, I must say. Back when I was fast, not anymore. But that was so cool, and then you could kind of see there was a better pathway. You went through Tasha Gale, and we used to do like exhibition games in the, I guess, Sharks kind of. It was Sharks, Raiders and Dragons. This was prior to NRLW starting, but they used to do exhibition games where, before the NRL games, we would play, it would be 9-a-side again, but you'd play, 9-minute halves and have a bit of a run around. And I remember the Sharks fans used to get around it. And so for me, being a young, 17, 18-year-old girl, being able to have an experience like that too, I think my first one was down at GIO Stadium in Canberra, and I got about like 2 minutes, but it was the best 2 minutes of my life, I think. And I'd played Tash Gale that morning, so to be able to get the call up to go on the bus with the big girls and the superstars, that was pretty cool for me.
What an experience.
It was a bit of a taste, I guess, of pre-NRLW competition, and we loved that and said, you know, how cool would it be if we got a competition like this running? And it was so good to see those 3 clubs really push for that and invest in their women. So for me, it was seeing the big goal and where I wanted to be and getting a taste of it then made me, you know, I guess have more motivation and a bit of a drive.
Yeah, 100%. And let's talk about now the curveball that was June 2020. I know you probably wince when I say that. You were in the midst of training with the Sharks for the Harvey Norman season. You were 20 years old, fit, fast, probably in great form, when you tore your ACL and your meniscus at training. Now, I remember rushing to your house the night you did it and sitting with you while you cried, and it was horrible. It was horrible. So walk us through the heartache of that injury.
Yeah, I think I actually remember that. It was you and Ellie rocked up to my house with chocolate and lollies and knew the way to my heart straight away. And I guess I was probably in, I would say, like the peak of my career, so to speak. I always get choked up about this. But yeah, I think it's obviously a bit of a curveball, and oh my God, why do I get emotional?
Stop your
Don't know why I get emotional. But yeah, I think it's just, you know, setbacks only make you stronger. So for me, I probably didn't realize it at the time, but really grateful now. Oh my God, why do I keep getting choked up? I guess you just really appreciate the little things. Oh my God, why am I crying?
You're good.
But yeah, you appreciate the little things, and I guess you didn't realize, but for me, I guess sitting back, watched all my best friends achieve those dreams that I wanted to. But again, it gave me a new perspective on rugby league, and oh my God, why am I choked up again? So sorry. But yeah, I guess like looking at it and you knowing that you can get through it, and yeah, I guess looking at footy from a different lens and seeing, okay, what could I do when I get back there? And I think that's pretty cool in a way, and in a really weird way, I'm grateful it happened in a way that it took me time to step back and reset as a person. So yeah, really weirdly, I don't know. But anyway,
but you know what? That perspective wouldn't have come easily. I think that would have come with age.
Yeah.
As you've matured and stuff and gotten older, you're able to look back at that time of your life and appreciate it for the lessons it taught you, and, you know, the resilience it instilled in you, and all that kind of stuff, because now, you know, you can tackle things head on that come up in your life because you've been through hardship and you've been through those down times, because I know that there was mentally some tough times during that period. You know, sport was your life for so long, and instantly that became, you know, it came to a standstill and you were sidelined watching your friends, and that does take a mental toll.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, like you said, it builds resilience and it builds character. And, you know, I'm not the only one that's going to have an injury, and there's plenty of injuries, you know, that people, you know, get. And super lucky that I still be able to get to do what I love. And I guess, looking at it from an outside point of view, you get to, see it from a different lens and appreciate the little things and appreciate your prep and how you prepare for games. And I guess being a probably naive 19-year-old or 20-year-old, 21-year-old, thinking I'm still young, but probably didn't appreciate those little things, I guess, in wanting to be professional, but not doing those things as well. So I guess, you know, having those people, and I guess it really sets a good perspective of knowing your support system too. So I'm very lucky that I always have my best friends there to help me and my family. And I guess it made me the resilient, tough person I am now. And, you know, even I might cry with little injuries here and there, but, you know, I guess nothing compares to that. So definitely glad that, you know, I was able to push through it and, build that mental resilience.
Yeah. That's one thing I wanted to touch on was, you know, some people shut off during periods like that where they have sustained big injuries and they let them consume them. It's so important, obviously, to surround yourself with a good support network. What would you say to people who are, you know, in the midst of injury, rehab, recovery? What advice would you give to them in terms of surrounding yourself with a good support network?
Yeah, I guess it's really important that, you make sure you align yourself with people that, you know, see your potential and really believe in you. I think that goes a massive, massive way. And also just setting little goals. I think obviously the end goal is you want to be where everyone else is and playing sport again, but, you know, it can seem really daunting because it's so far away if it's a long-term injury. So, you know, ticking off little goals like that as well and having people push you. I know I was pretty big on when was the earliest I could get back to? And for me, that was a goal, but also being really realistic that, you're going to have more setbacks along the way, but to strive for that and to keep pushing every day. You might wake up and not feel like you want to get out and just go for a walk, but anything and everything can actually help. So I think, finding a friend or finding a family member that might, just want to go for a walk with you, or, it's not all doom and gloom. And, I guess there's a life outside of sport as well that people need to realize. And, you want to be able to go out and spend time with your friends and clock off for a little bit as well. I think, you probably don't realize that actually has a really big, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a big influence on your rehab. I know that, I still went out to friends' birthdays in my knee brace and could barely walk. But for me, that was just really nice, surrounding myself with friends and clocking off from, wanting to get back playing sport again and things like that. It was actually just appreciating the little things. So really just making sure that you've got that great support network. And if you don't, just know you're not alone. And, there's other, players and people in sport that are going through similar things. So also, I know when I was rehabbing, I had other people, athletes there that were going through the same thing. So we could kind of relate and, get different perspectives, different stories and work together as, I guess, a team in that way. So you might be away from your own team, but you've got a new team and that's in the rehab system. So I was pretty lucky. I had Justin Lang pretty much pushed me every single day. I didn't want to go to the gym some days and I was there, I think 5 days a week. And, he'd be...
That's unheard of.
Yeah, unheard of. I know that, he'd open up the gym for me just to come and push me. And I know that I'd be in excruciating pain, but again, knowing the long-term goal of where I wanted to get to was really important.
Yeah, it was all part of it. So on that topic, talk me through a bit of that journey from that rehab stage to lacing up the boots and getting back on the field.
Yeah, it's definitely a long journey. I guess they look at it and say about, you should be 12 months of rehab. But for me, my surgeon told me I could get back in 9 if I really, really worked hard. So for me, I guess me and Justin Lang in the gym every single day, rehabbing. And again, I was in a knee brace for about 6 to 8 weeks, could barely walk, to then, eventually walking over hurdles, things like that. To then be able to have my first run. And I felt like I'd never run in my life.
Running on clouds.
Yeah, running on clouds. Felt like it was really uncoordinated. Probably still am a little bit. But, having that first run was such a big sigh of relief to go, okay, now I'm on the home stretch. I still had a long way to go, but ticking off those goals. And again, I knew I wanted to get back playing with, my best friends in the Harvey Norman competition at the Sharks. So, I was lucky that as a team, they kept pushing me. And I remember we actually were laughing about it not that long ago about how I used to have to do when I was closer to returning. They'd be training and I'd be running around the outskirts of the field doing my 10 1-kilometer runs. And
it's like you're in trouble.
Yeah, like the teachers told me I'm in trouble, go do laps. Exactly right. So we were laughing about it and I would start exactly when they would, but they'd finish and go up to gym and I'm still doing my 1-kilometer runs. But again, it actually, I guess I could have been running somewhere else. But for me, I wanted to be able to be reminded of, hey, that's where I want to be. So, kept running around and then obviously got my first game back, which was up at the Central Coast against the Roosters, formidable force in all grades. So, and I think that one, I was sitting there nervous on the sideline. My coach didn't want to put me in too early. And, I was itching to get out there and, my family or my cousins came to watch. And I remember, I think I got thrown in the middle just to go out there, have fun. And I remember I was absolutely crapping my pants going, why would you throw me in here? And again, all I needed was my first run, first tackle. And then it was just the biggest sigh of relief that, all the hard work paid off, and I was back doing what I loved. And I just felt free again. I felt, in my happy place. Footy and sport's my happy place. So to be able to do, what you love again, it's pretty cool.
It would have been the best feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, so now fast forward to 2022. You made your NRLW debut with the Parramatta Eels and made it to the grand final that year. Then in 2023, you signed with Cronulla, your local club, and were an integral part of them reaching the grand final in 2024. What's the experience been like playing at this level with some of the best players in the game?
Yeah, it's unreal. I think for me, I grew up and again, when I was in rehab and I was idolizing these girls and then, I wanted to be there. I knew I could get there. I knew that I had the potential to get there, but, again, like talent can only open the door, but hard work kind of keeps the door open for you. So I knew that I had to keep working hard and, I'm so grateful that Parramatta gave me that opportunity. I left, that same year I left Sharks and went over to West Tigers to play in the Harvey Norman competition just to, I feel like prove myself, and I wanted to prove that, you know, I could be an elite player and make the NRLW. And I was fortunate enough that, Parramatta picked me up in 2022. And, you know, for me, I guess, didn't know if I was going to play any games that year, but I just loved being in that environment, you know, the professional environment, you know, of rocking up, doing your field, going to gym, getting the access to nutrition, things that I guess you probably don't realize as an athlete. You know, obviously they're really important, or being an aspiring athlete, you kind of just brush it and think, you know, you can just rock up and put your boots on. So I was so grateful, and to be able to, I guess, have my debut game in round 2. I was definitely very nervous, and, you know, I guess just the speed of the game was actually like a whirlwind of difference. You know, and again, having, you know, the big names running at you, tackling them, I just felt like I was a little kid again, going, wow, I'm playing with them, or playing against them, sorry, which was so cool for me. So
It would have been surreal.
Yeah.
Little Tay would have just been looking back going, go girl.
Yeah, and it was such a cool feeling. And I think even, you know, I came off the field and we didn't win that game, but I don't know why, I just had the biggest smile on my face because I just ticked off this long dream. And I remember, you know, the Parramatta staff giving me a big hug and was so proud of me. And I felt like that was just so cool, because it was just a moment of like, I've made it type thing. And again, you know, I knew I had to keep improving and being that player, you know, you want to be better every single week. So then to be able to come back to the Sharks, you know, in their inaugural season, back where it all started for me, was really cool. And it was unreal for the club to, I guess, back me and support me in bringing me back to the club. And being a local junior, you know, you love that. And, you know, it was so cool for our community. And also, I guess, you know, I talk about me, Tayla, and Quincy. We started our rugby league journey together.
Girls.
The trio. We always say the trio. You know, we were just young little girls, you know, having a crack at Cronulla Caringbah to then, you know, fast forward, what's that, 7 years later, to then be able to play in the NRLW of what we dreamed of, you know, for our club that we were playing with, was so cool. And then, to be able to make the grand final, you know, I guess that was my second grand final, was really cool. So, so special. And super honoured that I get to do what I love and, represent such, you know, unreal clubs.
Okay, so Tay, on that topic, I want to ask, did you have a specific pinch me moment, you know, running out on a field, a certain game where you were like, all the emotions all at once, this is epic?
Yeah, I'd have to actually say I've got a few. I definitely have a few, but I guess in my inaugural NRLW year, making the grand final for Parramatta, you know, that year the boys had also made it in the NRL. So walking out of, we went and met up at Novotel in Parramatta, and you know, they had some unreal fans out there. You know, we walked out to get the bus over to Homebush, and, you know, the fans, I think there was like a couple hundred fans yelling out the doors for us, and that was so cool. I just was like in awe of thinking, wow, they've really turned out for us as well, obviously the men as well, but you know, I thought that was really cool because it shows just how much rugby league can bring a community together. And you know, we've all got the same goal, and you know, that was really special for me. And then I guess to be able to run out on the big stage at a core stadium for a grand final, you know, I'm always the kid at home or the girl at home watching the grand finals with my friends. You know, it doesn't really matter what team's playing, I'm just cheering for someone. And to think how cool would it be to run out there. But I remember running out there and I think I had goosebumps. I'm pretty sure I dropped the ball, went backwards off the kickoff just because I was so nervous of, like, I guess in awe of the, I guess, the occasion, the stadium I was in. And to think, I'd only played, you know, 5 games of NRLW to then be in a grand final was pretty cool. And, you know, players go through their whole career and might never play a grand final. So to be able to do it in the first year, that was so special to me.
Oh, it's huge.
I think we ended up getting maybe 45,000 people there by the end of the game, or at least half time. And to hear everyone riding the highs and lows of each moment, and, you know, you're just trying to stay in the moment. But that was just so cool to be able to see, everyone just backing you 100%, which was so special. And, and then obviously to be able to do that again at the Sharks last year. And again, that was so cool. So, and then for me, the special one that stands out though is running out round 1 this year for Bulldogs.
We're getting into that.
That one was pretty special. And again, that one I was very nervous, but it was really like a full circle moment for me.
100%. So you are, Tay, NRLW Bulldog number 1. So for people who don't know what that means, Tay was the first ever signing for the Bulldogs in their inaugural season. What was it like getting that call from the Bulldogs?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It, I guess, all transpired, you know, over 12 months ago. I hadn't kicked off 2024 season, but yeah, I guess for me, again, we've got a photo of me and you back in our jersey day, back in primary school where, you know, I'm wearing my Bulldogs jersey, wearing your Broncos. Don't like the Broncos.
Full kit.
No, yeah, full kit.
Proud.
Yeah, you were full kit. Socks are up to the knees. That was quite funny. But, you know, I guess, but yeah, my family's a massive Bulldogs diehard fans and we love Bulldogs. And, you know, I laugh. Jared, like my brother Jared, he's got a big photo frame of, you know, the 2004 premiers when they won. And I remember he got Willie Mason shorts and we thought it was the coolest thing ever, running around at home with his shorts, even though they would fall down all the time. But, you know, never in a million years did I think I would ever be able to play for that amazing club. And, yeah, to then be able to get the call and say that they were interested, you know, I was so lucky, and I went and had a meeting with them. And, I guess it was really cool for me. They really cared about me as a person. And I guess, you know, they know there's a life outside of footy as well. And, you know, they really are a family club, and you feel that as soon as you speak to them and walk through the four walls. I think, you know, when I did that, I just knew that that's where I wanted to be. And, you know, when they said, you know, I'd, you know, hopefully be the inaugural signing, I think, you know, straight away they gave me goosebumps. And I remember running down to mum and dad and telling them. And, you know, I just got so excited and thought, that's so special to me, and I guess no one will ever be able to take that away from me. And yeah, again, you know, my nan, she loves Bulldogs too, so to be able to tell her that as well was pretty cool. And you know, I jumped at that opportunity because, you know, I love the club, I've supported the club, you know, ride the highs and lows of the club. And you know, we have the most passionate fans, and I was one of those fans. I still am one of those fans. Yeah, and then to be able to say you're the inaugural signing and to be player number one is so special. I know when we train at the gym, we've got like all the past players around the gym, all the names and numbers. And, you know, leading up to round one, I guess we were all looking at the wall thinking, wow, like, you know, I think they're up to like 800 and something now in the men's space. And, you know, for us, we were like, wow, we get to build a legacy here. And, you know, that was really important for me. I wanted to be able to build a legacy for, you know, many, many years to come and build that foundation. And, you know, we've got so many amazing juniors coming through. And then, yeah, to be able to look and say you're player number one and say you were a part of something special is so cool to me. And, yeah, so grateful. And
it's massive, Tay. I'm sitting over here tearing up because I just know how much this achievement means to little Tayla. And, you know, growing up, kicking a footy together, like she would just be beside herself knowing that you are wearing that blue and white jersey now with so much pride. And yeah, I'm just so proud of you.
Yeah,
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Now, you're the co-captain of the team as well, which is a huge achievement in itself. Tell me about that honour and what leadership means to you.
Yeah, it's a massive honour. I know when my coach brought me in for a chat and I was just going in for, you know, a review to see where I was at. Again, I'm very, you know, competitive, want to get better all the time. And, you know, when he asked me, I cried. I'm a bit of a crier, not all the time, but it was quite funny because I was like, I just, you know, was just in so much shock. And for me, it was just such a huge honour. And, you know, we've got such, you know, prestigious leaders at this club that, you know, past and present. And I think to be able to do that and represent such an amazing club with such a proud history, you know, of people that have, you know, come before us, and also the staff that are there as well. You know, it's a massive honour and huge achievement. And I think, you know, I'm so fortunate, you know, Tekka as well, to be able to co-captain. You know, she was a Bulldogs junior as well. So it's pretty cool for us. And again, you know, we just want to stay true to ourselves and make sure that we build that safe environment for the girls to, you know, be their authentic selves. I know I'm always my authentic self, and
joking
around. People might call me an ick here and there, but you know, I just want to create that safe space. I guess I was really lucky to have some amazing leaders in my career, and you know, people like yourself as well in teams. And you know, you just want to be able to be that person that leads with their actions first and foremost, and you know, I guess be that leader that the young girls can look up to and come to when they need to as well. So for me, it's so important. And you know, I guess just treat it like, you know, we are a family and it's a sisterhood, and that's what we want to create, is a really true sisterhood. And you know, I guess I'm really lucky that Tiana Penatani was my leader for the last couple of years. And you know, I think just saying her name, everyone knows just how much of a genuine person she is, and she's beautiful. And for me, if I can be half the leader that she ever was, you know, I think I'm in safe hands because, she's amazing. So for me, just want to make sure that I stay true to myself and leadership is so important. I guess, in the highs and lows, that's where you look towards is your leadership group. And, we're pretty lucky. We've got some quite young girls in our leadership group at the club, but that speaks volumes that it doesn't matter your age. I think, how you are as a person and your character, and people look up to you despite your age is really important for us. And I think that's so cool for those girls as well to have that responsibility, and everyone steps up to the plate. I think every single person in our team is actually a leader in their own right, and they are their authentic selves, and I love that. And we have a bit of a vibe about us at the club and as a team, and we love that. But again, it's just so important to be able to create that safe space and create a sisterhood for everyone.
Yeah.
And also, like our Tasha Gale girls and Lisa Fiola girls, to see now there's a proper pathway and they can get there too, and show them that, we are genuine and we really care about everyone, making sure that, when they walk through the doors, they're having fun. Because I think when you're having fun, you're going to play your best footy or play your best in any sport. So for me, that's really important.
Yeah. And it's a culture thing too, creating a culture that girls want to be a part of and are proud to be a part of. I think that's a massive thing. And I know growing up, Tay, we captained some sides together, and you've always had those leadership qualities, but I think it's just so special that you are now in a position to not only inspire your team and lead your team, but you are inspiring literally 5-year-old girls. I see them run to the fence after your game asking for autographs, getting you to sign their jerseys and whatnot, and I'm like, you are literally inspiring so many young girls and paving the way for a whole future generation of footballers. And I think that's just such a privilege, and I'm so proud of you.
No,
so proud of you. So,
thank you.
What's the goal for this season, Tay, both personally and for the team?
Yeah, I think I'll go with the team first. Obviously for us, we're an inaugural team, but, we've spoken about, we have so much talent in our team, and I love that. I think, again, we're so lucky we've had some girls come through our pathways at the club, so they know what the club's about, what the club represents, and I love that. And also we've got some, raw talent that have come over from the rugby system as well, and we've got a formidable forward pack, and I love that. And we see it as, Broncos were the only inaugural team in the NRLW, I think, to go through and make a grand final. And so for us, we want to set the bar high, but we also just want to keep improving every single week. So as long as the girls, keep improving, and, all of us just want to keep learning and soaking it all up and building those connections and combinations, that's just really important. And I think that sets you up for long-term success as well. So obviously, the immediate success is great, but you want to have that long-term goal as well. And for us, we're taking each game as it comes, and the wins, the losses, we'll learn. And we just know that we've got so much potential in this team, and we all back each other. We believe in each other, and I love that. I think, it's really important that when you come in on Monday after a game, a good culture will show you if, you wouldn't know if you've won or lost on the weekend. And I think that's a really true testament to your culture of your team. And I love that, we have so much fun when we come to trainings, and, girls are coming out of their shells, and I love that. And, like I said, they've just got so much potential, and we're unlocking that, and we feel like we're building something special, and we all truly believe that. So for us, we want to be there come finals time at the end of the year. And, obviously, I guess, we would love to be in grand final day, but again, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, and we just want to, focus on the now and what we can control now, and that's just keep on improving as players. And I guess for myself, I got a taste of, being on the big stage twice now, and, I'd love to be able to bring a premiership home to this club. And for me, I just want to be the best person I can be, both on and off the field, as well. And I guess also, I got a taste of being a part of, the Origin squad earlier this year. And I love that. I think, again, I looked up to all those girls. I was a bit in awe being there, rocking up. I remember I was a bit nervous, but for me, the girls were so successful this year, and the game's only getting bigger and better every single year. And to see, packed out crowds for the girls' state of origin and for the New South Wales to bring home the trophy. Love that.
The girls.
I'm the one screaming on the TV, but, I'd love nothing more than to be able to be a part of that as well. So for me, I want to have those goals to strive towards, and, hopefully get back in there and, just build on my form from last year and keep on getting better as a player. And I kind of want to be that elite, halfback in the NRLW for myself. So I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, love that. So on that, wanting to be the best player you can be, let's talk some game day prep. From routines, rituals in the locker room, take us behind the scenes of what you do to prepare for game day.
I'm a bit of a weird preparer, I should say. I definitely have to fake tan before every game. That's a must. So every night every night before the game, I'll scrub off the last week's tan and then re-put it on. So it might be a 2-hour process for me, but I definitely have to do that. And then game day, I'm pretty chill. I do have to have my lucky undies and lucky sports bra. But, if we lose, then they're getting thrown out and I'm on to the next. And pretty big on my shoes too, what I have to wear. You have to look stylish. But then also, I guess food-wise, I just probably don't know if my nutritionist should listen to this, but I have bacon and eggs.
Tune out, nutritionist.
Yeah, tune out, please. But yeah, I'll cook myself bacon and eggs, pretty low-key. I think one time we were laughing on an away trip. I went and bought burger rings and was eating burger rings and the girls were saying, what are you doing? And I'm like, for me, it's just going to be as normal as can be. I think otherwise, if I'm too strict on myself, I can probably stress myself out too much. So I like to just keep chill, have some breakfast, and then kind of have a few snacks on the way there to top me up and then have some lollies in the locker room. But yeah, game day prep, I guess that way, that's what I have to do. And then, in the sheds and stuff like that, I've just got to do my normal prep of how I'd prepare.
Yeah. And do nerves still hit you before a game? How do you deal with them if they come up and manage to stay so focused in the lead up to kickoff?
Yeah, nerves definitely still hit me. And I always say nerves are good. I think sometimes when I haven't been nervous, I actually feel like something's off and I don't know why there's something off. And so for me, I feel like because every game, you don't know when it's going to be, I guess you've got to take every opportunity you can get. And, nothing's guaranteed in the NRLW. So you never know when, it could be your last opportunity. So you really do have to make the most of it. And again, obviously there's pressures of winning and things like that. But, you just want to be the best player you can be for your team. And so I guess I get nervous in the sense of, I guess just normal game day nervousness. But for me, it's just, again, I guess surrounding myself, whether I'm chatting to friends, on the phone or, mucking around with some music and things like that. I just like to hype myself up and kind of be who I am normally throughout the week. And I think that takes my mind off the game. It's really important to not play the game before you've played. And I guess that can stress you out a bit. So, once I have my first touch of the ball, first tackle, I'm good, I'm ready to go. But I guess nerves show you care. So for me, that's what I tell myself is, nerves show you care and, you care about your team, you care about the result, which is good. So, for me, nerves are normal and, I think it'd be
Couldn't
a bit
agree
weird
more. I'm a
if I
big
wasn't
nerdy,
nervous.
nerdy girl. All right. So for those who may not know, as the halfback of the team, what's your role when you step onto the field? So walk us through some responsibilities, a little thought process, strategy that you might be thinking about.
Yeah, I think, they call the halfback the general and, I laugh. I get the fun job of, barking the orders and telling them where to get to. But at the same time too, I'm pretty fortunate that we've got such experienced players that, they know their roles and it makes my job actually really easy. Obviously as a halfback, you've just got to get them to the points that you need to play at on the field and make sure, you're calling the right plays. And, sometimes you might not get it right 100% of the time, but as long as we're running hard, tackling hard, that's the most important part. So for me, it's just about, making sure that I direct the girls around to where we need to get to, making, the right calls when I need to. And then I guess you're kind of evaluating the game as it's being played out and looking what the defense is doing and things like that. And being the eyes for the team and the voice for the team. It's really important that, I stay calm and, I guess calm, loud, and make sure that it's clear communication so that, our middles do the tough job, defending for us. So it's important that then they just know exactly where they need to get to and what plays we need to do. So I love that job. I think, I love being the organizer. I love being, I guess the game player. So for me, it's a huge honor and, I love it.
And playing sport professionally obviously comes with a lot of sacrifice. You and I have spoken about it for years. How your social life often takes a hit. You'd miss out on events or you'd make the choice not to drink or not to go out because you've got training or you're mid-season. It can be so difficult, especially as a teenager or someone in their early 20s. What advice do you have for young people kind of navigating the same issue?
Yeah, I definitely think nothing comes easy without sacrifice. So yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's right. Sorry. But, you know, I guess I probably struggled with that, early on. You know, I'd get a bit upset missing friends' birthdays. And, you know, a big one for me was when, you know, it was a lifelong dream for us to go to Europe. And, you know, seeing my best friends go and do that was hard. But, you know, I guess too, like, you know, when you're there, you know that it's all worth it. And I think, you know, it's the same back with, you know, your setbacks and all the no's you might get told. In the end, it'll be worth it. And I think it's so special, you know, I guess rugby league, or, you know, the timing you have it's only a small window. You know, the countries are still going to be there. The holidays are still going to be there. Your friends are still going to be there. And, you know, even though I might miss out on birthdays or holidays and things like that, you know, they're still my friends, and I'm still going to, you know, be able to catch up with them when I can. And, you know, it can be hard, but I think at the end of the day, you've got that goal in mind, and, you know, your friends are going to support you no matter what. And I actually love that, you know, I get my friends to come and watch me play, and it makes me so excited. You know, you guys came and surprised me the other week, and, you know, I was just in so much shock, but I love that. And I appreciate that so much. And, you know, that's them supporting your goals. And, you know, I guess you're always going to have time to go on another holiday, you know, at the end of the season and things like that. And, but yeah, you've got that small window to be able to be a professional athlete. And, you know, it's a great honor to be able to do that. And, you know, there's only a small percentage of, you know, athletes, you know, whether it's in rugby league or any sport, in any professional sport, that make it. And so, you know, you want to know that, you know, those sacrifices will be worth it. And, you know, I promise you, you know, it makes you a stronger athlete. It makes you a stronger person, because you appreciate the little things. And, yeah, I guess working hard, you're only making yourself become a better player and a better person. So, yeah, I think, like I said, nothing comes easy without sacrifice. That's for sure.
And I think the people that matter as well in your life will understand why you're making those sacrifices. I think if you're surrounding yourself with, you know, your supportive friends and your family and all that kind of stuff, they're going to be your biggest supporters, and they're going to understand that you're not going to that party because you've got a big game this weekend. So go you. Like, they're going to support your choices no matter what. So I think another point to take away is surrounding yourself with people that understand your dreams and that support your dreams.
Yeah, definitely 100%. I agree with that. I think it's so important that, you know, yeah, like you said, they really back you and they believe in you. And again, there's always going to be another birthday, there's always going to be another party, and that's okay too. I think it's just really important that you're not letting anyone else down. Like, I think that's the fear that you have, is you're letting people down. But again, if they, you know, your true friends and true support network, they're going to understand.
Yeah, 100%. Now, sport can also be very consuming. How do you balance, you know, the training, games, and pressure of all that with your everyday life and your relationships?
Yeah, I think it's important to have a life away from footy as well. So obviously, you know, rugby league's not everything. So it's important that, you know, you've got the support networks both in footy but also out of footy. And I think for me, you know, when I can, I like catching up with my friends, seeing what they're doing, you know, in life. And I think that really, like, you know, we talk about, you know, you fill your cup. And I think for me, filling my cup is, yeah, catching up with friends when I can. And, you know, I guess clocking off, you know, you're pretty much a part-time, full-time athlete. So it can be really consuming with the highs and lows and the pressures that comes with that. But again, you know, pressure's a privilege, I see it as. So for me, I love that. But then, yeah, being able to have my life outside of footy and setting up, you know, my career and things like that out after you finish. So for me, you know, working is still a massive factor for me, and yeah, catching up with friends and, you know, going out for dinners and things like that, again, fills my cup and makes me happy as a person. And if I'm happy, then I can come into rugby league and do my job for my team and, you know, I guess, and help girls there as well. So I think when you're happy in life, you're going to be excelling in life as well.
Yeah. I think one thing that's really important that you touched on that not enough people really talk about is that, you know, you have that life outside of footy in terms of a career. You know, you haven't put all your eggs in one basket. You haven't made footy your identity. You know, I watched you still apply yourself at school. You went to uni, you got a degree, and you have that now to fall back on after footy. How important is that?
Yeah, it's massive. I think, you know, I laugh actually. I had my uni professor say to me once, you know, you've got to decide between uni and rugby league. And, you know, if you want to be a rugby league athlete, then, you know, you might not have time for uni. And I actually laugh at that now. Sorry if you ever see this, but I just
What
don't.
does he know?
Yeah, I actually just don't believe that. I think you can apply yourself in all aspects of life. So for me, it's important that, again, you only have a small window to be able to make it, and you've got to keep excelling, and every week you've got to improve because, your next contract's never guaranteed. So, if you put all your eggs in one basket, if that comes crashing down, then you might not have anything left. So for me, it's important to have that and know that, you're going to have different passions in life. You might have work, you might want to go and be an influencer, or you might want to be like someone that travels and things like that. So it's important that you have all those aspects and different perspectives as well. So for me, I love coaching. I love all things sports. So for me, I wanted to have that degree in exercise science because, I'm passionate about that as well. So then, I know I have something to fall back on, but also, yeah, it makes me a more intelligent person studying and it adds more motivation and drive as well, which kind of counteracts with your sport as well. You're always pushing to be the best, and I think it actually works in more ways than one to come together.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, lastly, if you could leave one piece of advice for anyone chasing a dream, particularly in sport, what would it be?
I think mine would be do the 1%ers, even when no one's watching. I think that can be hard, but because I know that when you put in the hard work, you train in silence, but, your actions are going to speak louder than anything. And I think, when your time comes, you're going to be ready and you're actually going to be really confident in your ability. So I think it's just making sure you put in the hard work and the 1%ers, every single day you can be doing something, and, whether that's watching videos, cutting clips, or going down to the park even with friends, it all makes a massive difference and a massive motivator. So for me, it's just really important that, train in silence. You don't need, the recognition and accolades that people might think you need, because at the end of the day, you've done the work and you're ready to go. And again, when you get your opportunity, 100% you're going to be firing.
I love that. Well, now it's time for our Rise and Bloom segment, Tay, where you get to set a little challenge for our We Are Sage community. So it can be a wellness practice or a little daily habit that is in some way going to enhance their life. So that said, what's your little challenge to our community?
My little challenge would be to write down or say out loud 3 things you're grateful for each day. That can be anything, far and wide, but I think it's really important that, you write 3 things you're grateful for. We can get caught up in the highs and lows of things that happen in life, but it's so important to have that perspective. So my challenge would be to write 3 things you're grateful for each day.
Love that. I already do that every day, my gratitude journal, but
love that.
I think it's such an important thing to just realign yourself and shift your perspective back to really what's important in life. So
yeah, definitely.
I love that. Now, before you go, Tay, our love heart theme that we're carrying through our brand is included in our podcast. So every guest that comes on, they sign off with a little hand-drawn love heart on our canvas, and over time we'll be able to look back and reflect on just how many people have shaped our community. So
I love that.
That said, we'll get you to do your hand-drawn love heart on the canvas. Go, sis.
Thank you. Nice, Ella.
As big or as small as you want.
Oh no.
That's pretty good from you.
That's good for me. We'll go with that.
She's not the artist
Arts and crafts
that I am, but
aren't my forte.
Love it.
Cute.
We'll show you the watches. Ta-da.
Much better than Ella's.
Beautiful. Alrighty, well, before we go, Tay, I just wanted to say a massive, massive thank you for coming on the pod today. I know we've spoken about it for a bit and I've just been so excited to have you on, but I mean it when I say I'm so, so incredibly proud of you, and I just think you are the perfect role model for young girls growing up wanting to play sport at a high level. You've gone through the highs and lows of the journey, and I've been there watching you every step of the way, just in awe, and I'm so proud of you to be have gone through everything that you've gone through and still have stayed so true to yourself throughout that process. It's a credit to you, and I'm just I'm so glad to be along for the ride. So don't forget me when you're famous.
Forget you. You're gonna make me cry. No, thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you so much. like I said, you're a beautiful person inside and out, and you're such a genuine person. And, you know, I'm so lucky to call you my best friend and sister in life. And again, I wouldn't be where I am without, you know, you and all my best friends, you know, pushing me to be better as a person. And I love that. And I'm so grateful that we have such a beautiful sisterhood. You know, count my lucky stars. And I just love what you're doing here. I think it's amazing. And we need more people like you in the world, and, you know, inspiring young females to know that, you know, there's a safe space here, and I love that, and I think we need more people like you in this world.
You. Thanks, Tay. Well, for those who want to follow along your journey, support you this season, where can they find you on socials?
They can find me. It's Tayla Preston, Tayla with 2 A's, Preston on Instagram and TikTok if you would like to follow along.
Love that. Okay, well, that's all we have time for today, guys. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you take away a lot from today's episode. There's so much in terms of, you know, resilience, friendship, and everything in between. But for those chasing their dreams, I hope you take a little bit of inspiration from today's episode. If you liked the episode, please be sure to like, subscribe, and let us know your favourite part of today. And follow us on socials at weare.sage. Now, to any girl that's ever felt like too much, not enough, or completely lost, this space is for you here at We Are Sage, and we're so glad to be along on the ride with you. So we'll see you next episode. Thank you.